the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? Don't let anybody make you think that God chose America as his divine messianic force to be a sort of policeman of the whole world. God has a way of standing before the nations with judgment, and it seems that I can hear God saying to America, you are too arrogant. If you don't change your ways, I will rise up and break the backbone of your power, and I'll place it in the hands of a nation that doesn't even know my name. Be still and know that I'm God.
Welcome again to Street Talk. My name is Ahmad Shakaraki, and on Street Talk we deal with political, social, and economics here in Michigan, the U.S., and abroad. Now joining me tonight,
Dennis Burnside.
Charles Thomas.
Paget Maynard.
Okay, man, we got a lot to cover tonight, but you say you want to talk about one of our favorite ladies.
Yeah, it should be one that it may come as a surprise to a lot of people because she's so contemporary, but I think she merits our respect and our adulation, really, and that's former First Lady Michelle Obama.
Oh, yeah.
She comes from us.
Yeah.
She was born on the south side of Chicago in '64 to a working class family. You know, they didn't have a silver spoon in their mouth.
No.
Their father worked for the city water department. Her mother was a homemaker and didn't work outside the home until Michelle started high school, rather. And Michelle showed traits of a bright and gifted young lady early on in life, and in fact she won a scholarship to Academic Magnet Center in Bryn Mawr, which is from her house on the south side to school and back was a 3-hour commute.
Okay.
So 90 minutes each way, and she excelled there, excelled all through high school, despite the negativity of some of her teachers who told her she shouldn't try. She applied to Princeton University, was admitted, graduated cum laude, and then went on to Harvard Law School and got her degree there. And shortly thereafter, working in Chicago at a community center, she met the future president, Barack Obama. But here's a woman that represents us in the most classical African sense, where the woman is the equal of the man.
Oh,
the woman
yeah.
is as capable of the man. You know, something Chuck and I were talking about before the show. And she went on to achieve on her own at the highest level. And never one scintilla, never one hint of scandal. We didn't have to worry about our First Lady being shown on some website naked.
Right.
We didn't have to worry about rumors about her selling her body.
Right.
We didn't have to worry about rumors of her saying that she didn't care, and why do you, about some children who were caged at the border. We didn't have to worry about rumors about her faking her academic credentials. I mean, just an impeccable woman who was a great mother. One of the stories I really enjoyed reading about her was after she graduated grad school and turned down some of these lucrative jobs that she could have taken, you know, partnership track type jobs at prestigious white shoe law firms. She came back to Chicago, became a mother, and as she was interviewing for a job in Chicago at one of these philanthropic organizations, she stressed to them that I'm first and foremost a mother. And she took her daughter Malika in with her to this interview and said, I need to be able to make the money that I'm supposed to make based on my credentials. I need the time that I need to devote to my daughter. I need flexibility. I'll work when it's convenient for me. I don't want to have to use a babysitter. And in turn, you'll get the work that you need out of this position better than anyone else you could hire. Now, this is back before Zoom. This is back before some of the flexibility we take for granted with working hours and conditions now, especially after the pandemic. But not only did she make it work out, she excelled, as she always does. So I think as we look back on her life as First Lady, where she stressed the harm of poverty. Impoverishment is in and of itself a disease vector. Healthy eating, you know, the garden she planted in the White House, ways to build self-esteem in young ladies. You know, I'll leave it at this. I've got 2 daughters that I'm very proud of, and they're academically accomplished. And I remember when Barack Obama was elected, and the family was walking out on the stage, and I pointed at the woman, at Michelle Obama as that woman, and said, that is what you can be. Yeah. You can do everything that she did. And my daughter at that time was about 8 years old. Okay. And I don't know if it electrified her. I don't know if that was a motivating fact, one of the motivating factors in her life that led her to the position she's in today. Both my daughters, but they both admired her, and they both looked at her in awe. And I hope more and more of our young women can look at an example like Michelle Obama and say, that's who I need to be. I don't need to be Nicki Minaj. I don't need to be some rapper side piece or some woman who takes her clothes off on TV. I can use my brain, and I can have dignity, and I can comport myself in the ways of the African woman of tradition, where I'm as strong as a man, but I'm his support.
Oh yeah. And it's a lot of black women have adopted, you know, that thing of trying to be like Obama's wife, you know.
You know? Thankfully. Thankfully.
I went down to her book signing. She's got quite an aura about her.
Yeah, man.
She's just a sophisticated lady, and she carries herself as such. And
very charismatic.
Yeah.
She attracts. She attracts. Beautiful person.
And they trying their best, you know, to get something she said or something she done, you know. Can't get anything, you know.
Well, you know, what they resorted to, and I don't know if they still do because I don't pay much attention to those fools, they resorted to making her out to be a transsexual. They put up memes of her as a simian, you know, an ape. All these ugly, just cruel things. And then out of the other side of their mouth, they tell you how moral and Christian they are. You know, and how much they respect Trump's wife. Now, you know, I'm not here to criticize Trump's wife. You do what you do. You do what you want to do. You live how you want to live. But don't tell me that when you've got a standard of morality and academic and intellectual achievement and dignity on one hand, and an example that's less than that, and you choose to lie about the good example, that tells me more about who you are than anything that you could say about her.
Right. Yeah, it shows a weakness in that culture. That's why they fall for that stop the steal crap. They're very low-minded because of that privilege. They think they got that privilege, but it's taking them straight to hell.
I want to quickly mention a lady that back in the late 40s in Nashville, before Dr. King, you know, this was back in the 40s, a lady named Ella Baker. In Nashville, she would have people to meet her at church, come to her house, and she would give information and everything on the different things that they had to do, you know, even though the movement never got really on the way, but this is before Dr. King, you know, and her name Ella Baker. I'll leave it at that right now, but we get into something else.
Well, I think one thing we can talk about briefly is the war in Ukraine, and the point where we're at now, where we're having open discussions in major media publications and on television about the potential use of tactical nuclear weapons and biological chemical weapons. And I remember a couple weeks ago when we were talking about that, I cautioned everyone here and people in the audience, don't think this is just about them over there and has nothing to do with us. Yes, Ukrainians are racist. They're Europeans. Europeans are created the myth of white supremacy themselves. They created the racial disparity that we see today. So that shouldn't surprise us. But what we should be concerned about is how the fallout of that war can affect us. And everything from gas prices to the price of commodities and food is affected, and we're starting to see the impact of that. But if we get into a situation where NATO becomes involved, we could be in a very, very serious situation where we're talking about an existential threat to life on the planet because of the unique psychological profile of a man like Putin. You know, he's 5'5" or whatever and wants to be a tough guy. Can't wait to pose with his shirt off. I mean, really, man, button shirt or put a shirt on, act like a gentleman. You know, you worked out. Congratulations. But someone like that can be so humiliated by a defeat. He very well could dare the West to come and step to him with NATO as he uses biological or chemical weapons. And a guy like that would rather see things end than be humiliated in some cases, and I worry about it. So I would advise anybody out there, even though you feel detached from it, even if it feels irrelevant to you, and even if you have no sympathy or empathy for the Ukrainian people because of the way you see them treating melanated people when they try to leave or try to seek assistance, keep in mind that what is happening there is going to affect us here just like it did in 1939.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You were saying, Patrick?
Actually, we may not see it right now, as Dennis is saying, but it is actually affecting us. Gas price way up there, for one. Food is already some sign of scarcity. It's only going to get worse. Existential, yes. This man is threatening to use nuclear weapons. And all that's going to happen if he uses the nuke, somebody going to retaliate with it. And before you know it, everybody is using this. We're going to wipe out this whole civilization. We can. The only thing is going to do anything now, God has to step in. And I know everybody don't want to hear and believe in God, but God will have to step in and do something to prevent this from happening.
Well,
and soon.
I agree with you. To me, there's a universal cohesiveness that could be played out. But my concern is for melanated people of color. We don't have a plan. We don't have a program. If the white man get a cold, we get pneumonia. We got to start looking out and thinking about our future as a people, as opposed to letting other people solve our problems. We got a problem by not being collectively conscious. And I'm not I'm not disagreeing with you that we are doing a lot better than we're doing, but I think we need a program that would bona fide the efforts that's needed in our community to solidify cohesiveness to get a better future for our generations and separate ourselves from the issues that other people, like you mentioned the Bible, you know, like if you believed in the Bible and what it's saying, you would be more protective of who you are as a people because it requires that of you. It's not about religion, it's about righteousness. and obedience to righteousness. So if you believed in the Bible, then you wouldn't have all these issues of cynical and diabolical things going on when you say that, like, I'm a Christian, but if you don't act like a Christian or follow the laws of a Christian, and then to worship a man, an image of a man that is not of your bloodline, and you don't know where this man came from, because everything that I read in Scripture says that Moses was a melanated man. So where did this white image come from? And why do you want to care more about this white image? And the way that they portray him is that, to me, he's an anti-Jesus. And he's riding on the backs of ignorant people. That's the donkey, is the ignorance that is prevailing in society.
Okay.
So there's
Chuck. Okay, good. We need to have some sort of cohesion. But in this case, in the context of what's going on, the war and everything, that's not going to stop, because we don't control the nuclear weapons.
right.
Those who control them are the ones who are going to determine whether we're going to live or die, in a sense.
Yeah.
All right? We need to do what we need to for ourselves and not depend on everybody else or anybody else.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we are not going to be an island. No man is an island. We still have to have interdependence as long as we are on this earth.
Yeah. But I'm saying what we've been through as a people under these white Christians, and we sit here and we watch this and we sweat bullets. To me, we have enough history to stand up and say something. Don't just sit back and do nothing. Because wrong is wrong and right is right. If you don't stand up for the truth, you might as well stay in your seat.
Okay. So then it's not
we've been abused.
To me, man, somebody comes up to me and says, do thus and so, act in this manner, and trust me because I'm a Christian. That tells me it's time to reach for my wallet and hide it. That Christianity is not analogous with moral behavior.
Yeah.
Christianity is not analogous with being upright and correct and in sync with the universal order. You have Christianity, the brand. You have Christianity, the marketing. You have Christianity, the history. You have Christianity, the reality.
Psychology.
So I don't think we can rely on Christianity as any type of tool to shield ourselves from what's to come. I think Christianity represents the moral compass for most melanated people here in the United States, because that's what we know. But if you knew your history, you would know the very first thing the Christian church did once they organized the 325 was to go on a murder spree. Mm-hmm. I don't mean to be harsh, but that's exactly what happened. They went on a murder spree and they killed those people who were still practicing spirituality within Northern Africa and Northeast Africa, which we now call the Middle East. At that time, they were full of melanated people. So it does not matter to me what you call yourself. It matters to me how you behave, how you handle your business, and how you treat others. And you can call yourself a Hindu, Buddhist, Muslim, Christian, whatever. Just be kind, just be loving, but just be compassionate, just be considerate of others. That's what the universal order comes from. And that understanding preceded all of these religions, which in the scheme of things are only created yesterday.
Yeah.
I read a lot of deep history, and I'm reading of places on the planet where you see the Ankh, which is where the Christians stole their inspiration to come up with the cross. Mm-hmm. And you're seeing places like in Naphtali, which is in what we now call southwest Egypt in the Sahara Desert. Well, there's a clock out there analogous to Stonehenge, and if you look at where this clock is built, you can see that at the time it was built to point to the rising sun exactly. Well, the last time that sun was in that position was over 60,000 years ago, and at that time the Sahara Desert was lush, and it was a fertile, water infused area of the planet, where now it's been a desert for thousands of years. So history teaches me there's something deeper than these religions we organize ourselves around, and I think the desire within people to find that universal truth is funneled into the Christian church, or funneled into Islam, or funneled into Hinduism, Judaism, because they don't know their history. It's been suppressed. So I don't discourage people from calling themselves Christian and saying that this is what we should do because that's a moral thing to do. As long as you act in a moral fashion, that's the most important thing. And so the threats that we're facing now, we can't isolate ourselves and pull ourselves back and say that's their doing, that's their issue, because when the food disappears from the shelf, when the bombs start to fall, when the calamity comes, we're going to be just as vulnerable. And that's why all I say to people is, even if you feel like it doesn't involve us and it's not our problem, pay attention to what's going on in Central Europe. Pay attention to what's going on in Yemen. Pay attention to what's going on in Ethiopia and Sudan, South Sudan right now. Because those are all features, all of them are features of colonialism and the power to have other people submit to your whims and turn over their natural resources, the wealth of their nation, to you because you have a bigger, better gun. If you're not paying attention to that, then things and events as they happen will confuse you and you won't understand why. Because you're talking about, well, come on down from the sky and save me from this thing. It doesn't quite work that way.
We look at right now, you know, and people are sending money and all this thing, and you know, we should be helping, but we look in some other parts of the world, man, where, you know, people are being slaughtered every day.
Like Yemen.
Yeah.
Like Yemen. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, right now.
Yeah.
And
but if you take everything away, it's because of religion, fascism. You know, you do what I say do. Control.
I think it's more than. I think that's less religion and more human greed and human cruelty, and many times that's wrapped in a Christian flag. Yeah, because that's the best costume, that's the best disguise you can have. Is you walk into somebody with intention to rob them and telling you, bringing them good news. But I think the most important thing that we can do, Chuck, is to make yourself aware of what's going on. Make yourself comfortable with the facts of your existence, so that when things go south, you're not caught off guard. You know, it's one thing to feel as if you're separate and apart and detached from these events, but experience teaches that eventually they come around and they touch us all.
Yeah, but I guess I'm feeling that we could be the solution to the problem.
Solution?
Yeah, as a people, because of what we have endured, and everybody else is off into the greed thing and the murder thing and the lying and the cheating.
Okay, well, how about right now? We looking at a man over there with who's everybody but China, you know, they're saying, hey, you know, hey, that's you over there. So,
well, not to cut you off, but I'll tell you who else is conspicuously absent from the reaction and the criticism of Putin in Russia. And that's most African nations. And that's because they have a very vivid memory and even vivid awareness of what's going on today of the damage that colonialism did. And they look at colonizers like the United States, Britain, France, Spain, Italy, Belgium, and them, you know, you're talking about colonizers, and I'm supposed to feel a certain way because one colonizer.
Right.
By the way, Russia never colonized Africa.
Right.
So I'm supposed to feel a certain way, but even then, I understand it, but I think it's short-sighted because unless and until you're ready to create your own monetary system, create your own trade system, create your own economic system within an African construct, like Gaddafi was attempting to do.
Yeah.
Unless you can do that, you're going to be involved in these worldwide political machinations. There's just no way to avoid it.
Yeah.
So whatever leverage you have, you better be able to use it to your advantage.
Yeah.
And you just can't pull back and say, that's y'all, we're not involved.
Yeah.
I remember Gaddafi apologized for their hand in slavery.
Yeah. And you know, it just and see, that's why I come down on the U.S. It's like they went and destroyed these people. Oh, they doing this and they doing that. But you know, to me, if they hadn't went up and murdered these people before that.
Yeah, Black Ops.
Yeah. You know, things over there to me, was going along pretty well, you know. But the U.S. goes in, you know. First it was who? George Bush, the senior George Bush.
Yeah.
Well, it's still the same old colonialism.
Right.
If you look at the original reason why the Europeans came out of Europe and went into other areas of the country, of the world rather, is because the other areas of the world are much, much richer in natural resources. And the ruse that the senior Bush did about the Iraqis throwing babies out, tossing them out of incubators and stabbing a baby. And it was a lie. It was all about oil.
Yeah.
And you know, we can go on down the line up to present time, but again, if you want to understand what's going on in the world, you got to pick up a newspaper. You got to read. You got to be you got to be made aware. So then you can make logical decisions about what you need to do to enhance or protect your life.
Yeah, I think America showed us as a model to the world how to mistreat the people.
Yeah.
And like when you see other countries doing it, and they kicked the ball, they initiated all this.
Oh yeah.
And they showed the world that they were treating us fairly. But you and I, because we are the victims of their scheme, we knew better, but people in Africa thought we had it going on. I mean,
well, you know, Hitler said that a lot of his strategies were motivated and revealed by Jim Crow rules in the United States. You know, the racist Germans said that's how you handle it.
That's right.
Definitely, man. All right, this has been a good conversation, man, but we gotta end it.
Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? Don't let anybody make you think that God chose America as his divine messianic force to be a sort of policeman of the whole world. God has a way of standing before the nations with judgment, and it seems that I can hear God saying to America, you're too arrogant. If you don't change your ways, I will rise up and break the backbone of your power, and I'll place it in the hands of a nation that doesn't even know my name. Be still and know that I'm God.